Lately, I have been hyperfixating on Transformers. For some reason, and being that Hasbro is currently making a whole crossover line of figures named Transformers Collaborative, I ended up thinking about some figures that I think would be cool to have in this line. I'm going to separate each section in 4 parts. Lore, how and why this character exists. Cool factor, things the figure has to do or contain. Engineering, a general idea of how this figure could work. Reality, how likely it is for Hasbro to actually make this a toy. Starting with Spider-Man. Lore, in Cybertron, an Autobot researcher is tasked with analyzing the side effects of long-term energy radiation in animals from Earth, not noticing that one highly radiated spider was able to escape, and during a field trip into the lab, it ends up biting a young Autobot, giving him the abilities of a spider and the alt mode of a spider to match. And I will want to make him part of the Spider-Verse in future events. Clearly, cool factor. This figure needs to at least have one hand doing the whole rock and roll hand that Spider-Man does to shoot his webs, and I will ask for interchangeable hands. But I don't think Hasbro will be down for that. Also, web attachments. 2 different types of web attachments coming from his wrist that you can just plug in. One that looks like a web string, and one that looks like a web coming already formed out of his wrist. Also, to really get the look going, he needs to have the eyes of a spider suit, you know, these ones, molded into his face. And finally, the whole look of the spider web going all over his body. That would be awesome. Engineering. All figures from this line are remolds of other figures. And would you look at that? Black Arachnia is right there! I suppose Tarantulas could also be an option, but I feel like the more agile look of Black Arachnia could work better, obviously with pretty heavy remolds. And I am not a huge fan of the spider legs in the arms. I would prefer, if possible, to get the legs to go into the back to give him more of an Iron Spider look. But I understand if it isn't an option. Reality. Hasbro has the rights to make figures based in Marvel characters, and they are casually also making a series of figures based in the 90s Spider-Man series. So this could be like the perfect double nostalgia combo. You could even give it the packaging based in the Spider-Man figures from the 90s. Just don't make it a blister. I will cry. 8.5 out of 10 in realism. Bonus. They could use the Tarantulas mold to make a Venom figure and make this into a 2-pack. It will look nice with the more buff look, I feel. My Little Pony. Lore. Whatever happens in the crossover comics. I need to read those one day. Or using a portal between dimensions, an Autobot ends up trapped in the world of Equestria. Needing to blend into this new world, she ends up scanning a pony. Cool factor. I would prefer for molded hair, but it would be extremely fun to see like a Transformer with hair that you can brush. I also would prefer for this figure to be an unicorn, so she can use the horn as a weapon in robot mode. Maybe even an alicorn, so you can detach the wings and make them into a shield. Clearly, the cutie mark has to be the Autobot symbol. Oh, and make the figure different tones of pink. I don't know if I have to even say it. Now, the biggest question will be which generation of MLP it should be. It all depends if Hasbro wants to go for a G1 to get more of an old school nostalgia going, a G4 to get directly into the eyes of the bronies, or if they should go for a G5 to promote the new series. Engineering, Hasbro, please make a completely new figure. There is only one horse transformer, and he looks extremely obscure. Unless maybe you will make a brand new figure of that guy to be later reused for this figure. I don't see it very likely, but it will be cool. Reality, we're talking about a Hasbro IP, so there is no license problem. They already made a figure for G.I. Joe, so they might as well do it for MLP. The biggest problem in my eyes is the engineering and maybe Hasbro not seeing a real market for the figure. But I think between Transformer fans and bronies, they will be down to buy it. No doubt in their minds. There's probably already enough overlap between those two type of fans. 7 out of 10. Bonus. The Monopoly guy has a car. I'm just saying. Xenomorph, lore, an Autobot is tasked with transporting different packages from planet to planet, not knowing that one of his packages was actually a Xenomorph egg. The facehugger comes out of the egg, unable to find any form of organic host to be able to bond into his face. The facehugger ends up going for the spark of the Autobot, slowly fusing itself to the spark, mutating the body and mind of the Autobot like a parasite, turning him into a form of techno-organic Xenomorph. Cool factor, the Autobot looks like a chip from the first Alien film, meaning that this is a pretty big in universe, but it doesn't have to be like actually like comparatively huge or anything. It can be the same size of the other figures of this line. Also, I want the vehicle to look like armor, like he's just wearing the remains of the original Autobot. Also, I would prefer for him to still have the Autobot insignia on his vehicle, and his robot to look as organic as possible, especially straight up a Xenomorph tail and face and head as close as possible. Maybe more of a robotic arms and legs and body, but very like details to make it look as horrible as possible. Engineering, this part of the ship is the head, this part is the arms, the legs extend over here, and the tail does the same thing, comes out from under the ship. And I don't know, there is like lots of different planes and ships, transformers. Just grab one of those guys, the one that works the best for the concept. One of them has to do. Reality, Hasbro haven't worked with the Alien franchise in a while, so I don't see it all that possible, but it will fit the time frame for the other crossover figures. Please, 5 out of 10. Bonus, if you're doing aliens, you might as well do a Predator. Ghost Rider, lore, a colony ship of the Autobots gets attacked by Decepticons, causing the ship to crash into Earth. But this ship isn't as lucky as many others before it. Almost everyone in the ship ending on the verge of death. One of the less damaged ones of the Autobots, feeling useless, unable to help his injured friends, he tries to look for help. But all around there is only sand. But suddenly, what looks to be a human appears, giving the Autobot help in fixing all of his comrades. In exchange, the Autobot has to give the human his spark. The desperate Autobot accepts, sealing his fate with none other than Mephisto, and becoming the new Ghost Rider. the spirit of vengeance taking the place of his spark. Cool factor, this figure comes with flames accessories that you can plug around his head, some molded detail around his chest to give him like a leather jacket look for his body, maybe some flame effects to put on his arms, and you can plug those from the flame effects to his vehicle mode, also a proposed plastic chain to use as a weapon, and the molding of the face needs to have like sunken eyes and tiny lines around his mouth to give him like a skull face look. Engineering! Who is that next to Black Arachne? Is that totally not Primacy? A perfectly useful mode? Unless maybe Hasbro feels like making a new figure of other motorcycle transformers that will fit look better probably. Like this guy, just slap a skull in the front. Reality. Ghost Rider haven't got that much popularity in the recent years. Maybe this could happen if Marvel makes a Ghost Rider series or a Ghost Rider movie for the MCU. But he literally has the word Rider in his name. The idea is right there. 6 out of 10. I feel like I need to mention the fact that there have been Transformer crossovers figures of Spider-Man before, nothing like having handlebars in your crotch, and also some other companies have made their own Transformers that turn from a Spider-Man to a spider, but those didn't look like robots, and it was a long time ago. Final bonus. I'm gonna throw things to the wall until something sticks. The RC car from Toy Story, the Shield Helicarrier, that will turn into some type of Captain America looking robot, the ship from the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Thanos copter. If Hasbro makes the figure of Spider-Man and it turns into a Spider-Mobile, I will cry harder. The Batwing. I feel like it might be a war crime to have Marvel and DC in the same line, but I can dream. Also, I guess the TMNT band that they have. And if you're wondering, hey, anything for Star Wars? No. And I bet someone already made like a video like this, probably someone more qualified. But I really wanted to try it. Now like and subscribe so I can actually have enough money to buy one of these toys. I even have a couple more Transformers related video ideas while I am still hyper focusing. Bye! I kind of want to buy all the fossilizers. Is that weird? I bought one and they are so cool.